Hi friends, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I am Chinwendu. In today's tutorial, I'll be sharing with you guys how to make this beautiful A-shaped gown. If this is what you're interested in learning, sit back, relax, and let's get started. For this tutorial, I'll be working with two different colors of Ankara prints. You can see what I have on the table, and for each of it, I'll be making use of 2.5 yards of fabric. And for the lace fabric for the design, I'll be working with just half yard of it. First of all, I'm going to have to fold my fabric. So I'll folded the purple one and here comes the green one. Okay. Now guys, we don't need to cut this on fold. So we are going to slash it so that we have the Ankara prints, two pieces separated from each other. Okay. So I'm going to just slash. And then after slashing, let me raise it up so that you guys can see what we have. So you can see that I have two pieces of purple and then two pieces of the green. Now I'm going to be cutting both the front and back together. So what I'll be doing is to pick one of the green and then one of the purple, place it down, and then also pick one of the green and one of the purple and place on top and then pin it up. Now what this implies is I'm going to be cutting both the front and the back together. Okay, so you can see what I have on the table already. Now guys, first of all, you are going to have to come down by 1 inch for your shoulder points, and that is what you can see me marking out. And once I am done marking it out, I'm going to draw my lines across. Now once I'm done with that, I'm going to place my tape and mark the bust point. So for this client, her bust point is 12 inches. This shows you that this is for a plus size, right? And then from the shoulder to the waistline is 19 inches. I'm going to mark. From the shoulder to the hip point is 28 inches. I'm going to mark. And then from the shoulder to the length of the gown is 63 inches. I'm going to mark. Now our tape stops at 60 inches, right? I'm going to first of all mark out 60 and then come down and mark 3 inches. Now this is inclusive of the hemming allowance. Okay, so now that I'm done marking out the points, I'm going to bring my ruler and then draw my lines across. Now once I'm done drawing the hem, I'm going to cut off the excess and then over to the shoulder line again. So from the middle of my fabric, I'm going to go in by 1 inch. Now guys, I'm not going to be making use of zip for this dress. Okay, now if you want to have a zip at the back of your dress, this is where you're going to be inserting the zip. But for me, I'm just going to join it down to the hem without inputting any zipper. Okay, so from here I'm going to have to start inputting my body measurement. So place your tape on the shoulder and then divide your shoulder into two. So for this client, her shoulder divided by 2 is 8. I'll add half an inch for sewing allowance. Now from the shoulder, I'll come down by 1 inch for the shoulder slope and then divide the bust circumference by 6 and add 1.5 inches for the chest line. So I'm done marking out the chest line. Go ahead and connect the chest line into the shoulder slope and that becomes the armhole depth. Okay, now once you are done with that, you're going to have to mark out the neck width and the neck depth. For the front neck width, I'm going to use 4.5 inches and for the depth, I'm going to use 4.5 inches. Now that I'm done marking it out, I'm going to go ahead and connect it together. And after that, I'll mark out the back neck depth. Okay, now for the back neck depth, I'm making use of 2 inches and of course the width is going to remain the same and I'm going to connect. Now once I'm done with this, I'm going to move over to the armhole and then divide the armhole depth into two. Whatever it is that I have, I'm going to place it and then go in by 0.75 inches. Now after that, I'm going to connect with my long ruler, my straight ruler like this, and then equally connect the slope. Now I'll go over to the chest line and divide the bust circumference by 4, and then add 1 inch for ease allowance and then 1.5 inches for sewing allowance. After doing that, I'll move over to the waist, divide the waist circumference by 4, and add 1 inch for ease and 1.5 inches for sewing allowance. I'll move over to the hip, divide the hip circumference by 4, and add 1 inch for sewing allowance and 1.5 inches for ease allowance. So whatever it is that I have on the hip, I'm going to take it down to the hem and then connect. So guys, as you can see, I am done marking out my body measurement. I'm going to go ahead and connect all the points together. And then I'm equally going to make sure I don't have any sharp curve. Okay. So guys, once you're done with this, you're going to come over to the armhole and connect the back armhole and the front armhole. Okay, so the one that goes inside is going to be the front armhole, and the one outward is going to be the back armhole. Now after that, go ahead and input the shoulder sewing allowance, which is 1/2 inch. Of course, that has been the standard if you have been following me. So I would add, and then next you're going to have to cut this out. So to cut out, you're going to have to cut out the back neck first, and after cutting the back neck, go ahead and remove the back and then cut the front neck. So you can see what I'm trying to show you. So I'm going to raise it up and cut the front neck, and then once I'm done with that, I'm going to cut out the rest of it. Okay, now to cut the armhole, go ahead and first of all cut the back armhole, and then remove the back and then cut out the front armhole. So guys, once you are done with this, go ahead and cut out the remaining body measurements. Okay, and then you guys, we are done with both the front and the back. So I'm going to show you what we have. So guys, next thing you want to do is locate where you want your pocket to be. So from the shoulder, I'm going to take it down to 19 inches, which is where the waist point is, and then notch. Now from that point, I'm going to go down to 7 inches, and the space in between the notches is where we are going to be inserting the pockets. Okay, now guys, you can see this is what we have. Now I'm going to go over to my sewing machine, and then I will stitch down the front and the back. Like I said, I'm not going to be using a zipper, but if you want to make use of a zipper, this is where you're going to insert it. Okay, so I'm going to move over to my sewing machine, stitch this also with the rough edges on my weaving machine, and then come show you guys what we have. So guys, I'm done sewing both the front and the back, and I've also weaved it. Okay, so here is what we have. I equally gave it a good press. So guys, I'm only trying to show you guys what we have right here. So as you can see, I'm going to take away the back, and then we work on the front, because this is where the designs are going to come in. Okay, so guys, here is what I have for the front. Next thing I'll be doing now is to bring in the lace, and remember the lace is just 1/2 yard. So I'm going to try as much as I can to arrange this properly well and then bring in my lace. So guys, here is my lace fabric. I'm going to fold it into two, and then from the middle of my fold, I'm going to come in by 1 inch, exactly what I did on the fabric, okay? Because we need to join it and then place it on top the actual fabric, all right? So guys, I've marked out the 1 inch. The next thing I'm going to do now is place it so that the 1 inch on the lace and the 1 inch on the Ankara prints will be aligning, okay? And then I'll have to measure down to where I want this lace design to stop, okay? So I made use of 16 inches from the shoulder, and then I'm going to connect it in a curvy way. But first of all, let's cut out the armhole. So I'm trying to cut out all the excess that I have, which I'm not going to use, okay? So that it will be easier for me to cut out whatever it is that I want. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and place my ruler like this, and then trace out whatever it is that I want. Any design you want, it is totally up to you, okay? So guys, you can see I'm trying to cut out the design that I want. Now once I'm done with this, I'm going to go over to my sewing machine and then stitch the 1 inch seam allowance and then bring it back. Because you can see what we have, I'm going to fold it again and then place it back to cut out the neckline. So before I cut this out, I'm going to ensure that the seams allowances are aligning and then trim out the neckline. So guys, you can see what we have. Now I'm going to open the fronts and then place it so that we can go stitch it on our sewing machine, okay? So I'm going to just arrange it properly well and then use my pins to hold it down. Now guys, while you arrange this, ensure that the seam allowance on the lace aligns with the seam allowance on the fabric. And then once you're done with that, go ahead and bring in your velvet ribbon. So what I have here is 3.5 yards of velvet ribbon. So the longest one is 2.5 yards, and then this one is 1 yard. So I'm going to divide the 1 yard into two equal halves. So guys, as you can see, I'm trying to cut this, and once I'm done, I'm going to place it at the edge of the lace and then use my pins to hold it. Now if you don't have a pin, you can equally make use of your hemming tape. Just put it under and then place the velvet ribbon and give it a good press. So you can see I've equally done the same thing to the other side. Now I'll go over to my sewing machine and stitch both sides. After stitching it, go ahead and bring in the longest velvet ribbon and then place it in the middle of your fabric. Just ensure that the middle of the velvet ribbon is matching with the middle of the fabric, which is the line that joins both the two different fabrics together, okay? And I'm going to pin it down to the hem. But you guys, the truth is I eventually worked with my hemming tape. So what I did was to place hemming tape underneath this velvet ribbon and then gave it a good press. I noticed that working with a pin was very difficult for me because it was not staying in one place. But working with your hemming tape actually would make the velvet ribbon stay in one place. Now you're going to have to go join the shoulders together and then use your bias tape to turn the neckline. Afterwards, go ahead and join the seam allowances, okay? So for my allowance, I left 1.5 inches, and that is what I'm going to use to join the side seam. Now after this, you guys, this is what we have. You can see how beautiful this is looking already. So what is left now is for us to join the side pockets and then cut out our sleeve. So I've already cut out my pocket pattern off camera. I've actually made several tutorials showing you how to fix in your pocket. So for this tutorial, I'm not going to be doing that. I actually worked with two different pieces for my pocket as well. So guys, I'm going to go fix that, and then this is the fabric I'm going to be using for the sleeve. Now for the sleeve guys, the sleeve is going to be a flutter sleeve. So I'm going to fold on bias just like this. Once I'm done folding on bias, the first thing I should do is from the top, I'm going to locate where I can have my armhole divided by 2, and I will go ahead and mark a straight line. You can see that I just checked that I have that, and after that I'll go up by the client's cap height. Okay, so for this client, her cap height is 4 inches, and once I am done with that, I'm going to cut out the armhole just like this. So you can see what I have. I'm going to check that I have the armhole plus 1 inch for sewing allowance. After that, I'm going to go ahead and from the top of my sleeve, I would mark down to 16 inches, which is the length of the sleeve that I want. And the subsequent ones, I'm going to keep adding half an inch as I go over to the underarm. So you can see what I'm doing. So we need this sleeve to be equal. That's why you need to keep adding half an inch until you get to the side. And then once you're done, go ahead and connect the lines. And then once I'm done with that, to cut out, I'm going to be adding half an inch for hemming allowance. So guys, once I'm done cutting this out, remember I've just cut out one of the sleeve. I'm going to equally go ahead and cut out for the green fabric. So I'm going to bring in the green fabric and then place it on bias. Place the purple sleeve on top and equally cut the same thing. Now guys, once you are done cutting out the sleeve, the next step you're going to take is weave the rough edges of the sleeve, both the side and the down part. Also hem the down part and then stitch the side seam. Now after that, this is our sleeve. So now to fix it, you're going to have to fix the green sleeve to the green part of the dress and then the purple to the purple side of the dress. And you guys, here is the final look of our gown. As you can see, it is neatly finished. I've also hemmed the down part and fixed in the pockets. Now guys, here is where we'll be ending this tutorial. I hope you find this helpful. If you do, please give the video a thumbs up, and you guys, I will see you in my next one. Bye.